Hello, everybody. Yeah, looks like I see audio working out there. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you all so much for stopping by here for my little Ask the Expert series. We're gonna have Danny again here from SoftStartRV. He's got a new method that makes the install of his products out there even easier. He'll be coming on in just a minute. Okay, local recording. First off, I want to thank RVtravel.com for supporting this webcast. They've been promoting this all week. You can find tons and tons of my articles over on RVtravel.com. If you go to RVtravel.com and put in Sokol or put in electricity or put in no shock zone, I just pop up all over the place. Another thing people have been asking me about is whether or not I would consider doing an Ask the Expert is Me thing, and I think I'm going to do one here in a couple of weeks. What I'd like you guys to do is go ahead, and you can do it right in this comment section here after, whenever you feel like it. Put down some of the topics you would like me to cover within that, so I could be prepared with a few slides and that kind of thing. There's tons and tons of stuff I can do, of course, but we're going to have to get it down to a couple different questions. So if you want me to do one of me interviewing me, I can actually do a 2-camera shoot with me talking to me, which is just a little bizarre. But yes, I'm willing to do it for you guys. So shoot me a note. Danny's laughing over. Stop it, Danny. Stop it. He's in the background. Yeah, and he knows I'll do it too. He knows I know how to do it. You know that I know how to do it, and I know that you know that I know how to do it. So all good. Let's go ahead and bring Danny Rahner on. Hey, Danny. No, you're not supposed to laugh at me. I'm the host here.
Hey guys. Well, I
Hello.
can't help it.
I know. I just have way too much fun with this audio video stuff. And you guys know I really have done this for a living for, oh gosh, the better part of 50 years. So this is just like really, really fun stuff for me, even though it's a little terrifying going live because you never know what's going to happen. But I think we're in good shape here. Let's see, Danny. Let's see, make sure your interview's up, music's down, blah, 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 blah. Everything sound good for you guys? Okay, so let's see. Brian says hi from Colorado. And Trevor says hi from Ontario. I think he was here last time. So he's a frequent flyer, as we say. And Don Jesse says, sounds great. Good, that's what we want. Okay, Danny, would you like to introduce a little bit, of course, the concept? You were here I guess 3 or 4 weeks ago, discussing the normal method of how this is installed. But since then you've come up with kind of an interesting way that reduces some of the wire cutting and such. Would you like to describe it? And I can pull something up on the screen.
Sure. If you want to pull up the normal install, this would be for a Dometic brisk unit. But it's just a go by because in theory it works on it'll work on any AC that would normally require cutting the compressor wire. The first 3 steps never require any cutting. When this shows done to a unit that is out of warranty, but if your unit is within manufacturer's warranty, I will not allow you to cut a wire. So this one shows steps 5 and 6 is where the change would be. Step 5 there shows the brown soft start wire with a male on it and the red one with a female, also in the instructions. But what you would do for a unit that you chose not to cut the wire, a unit that is within warranty, you would put a female fitting on the brown soft start wire, and temporarily I insert a male in there and bend that fitting over to a 45 to 90 degree, and then put a male fitting on the red soft start wire. You then remove the cap from your compressor, Dometic has a blue wire. Coleman uses a black wire. What you would do is you remove that black wire, replace it with the brown soft start wire with the female fitting on there, plug your red soft start wire into your black or your blue compressor wire, replace the cap. You've cut no wires, period. This way you do not void a warranty. And this is on units like Dometic. If they don't have a like your Penguin 2 with the heat pump, that's got a circuit board in there with a relay. Therefore, with those, you disconnect the blue compressor wire off of the relay and follow the normal instructions and put a female on the brown soft start wire. I take that back. On the female on the red, you plug the brown soft start wire into the blue compressor wire, and you would put the red female on the relay. Then you don't cut wires there. So anything with a relay, terminal board, or some of them have a little terminal block in there, those don't require any cutting of wires either.
Okay,
That's
so
why I ask if you've got,
go ahead,
when in doubt, call me.
Well, one of the things that I'm going to do here in the next week is my test unit I've got. I'm going to put back all the wiring like it was, because I've cut everything apart all the time here, and I've had soft starts in and out of mine about 10 times in a variety of hard start capacitors and Sokol capacitors, and it's a test bed. And then I'm going to go ahead and duplicate what Danny's talking about here with an install video for that. So I'm going to show you on my Penguin 2 demo unit how this actually works. So give me a week or so and I'll go ahead and produce that as a video, so I'm not messing around here too much. But I think that is a real interesting install. And I may actually have an RV coming in that I'm going to be doing it up on the rooftop. So yeah, you guys say, yeah, anybody can do this when it's sitting 3 feet off the ground and in front of you on a couple of sawhorses. I guess I got to climb up on top and go do one of those, and I'll get Danny to help me out to keep me out of trouble. It'll be all good. So I'll tell you what, there's a couple of really interesting questions we had come by here in the beginning. Let's see if we can answer those. Let's see. Okay. So Danny, one of them said,
Yeah.
are there specific wire splice products that you recommend? And I pulled up a picture here.
Okay, what you're looking at there is a package of 16 male and female disconnects. That particular one is at Lowe's Hardware for $3 and change. With 16 in there, there are enough in there to do 2 ACs.
Okay, so if you guys
Those
notice,
are also they are also you'll note on there, those are what called a 12-10 disconnect. 12 being the gauge of the soft start wire. Therefore, they crimp right on there.
now, do you use a special tool for crimping?
I do not. You can use the special tool that is made for crimping these. You can use, if you're careful, you can use side cutters, you can use pliers, anything to crimp that thing down, that back half of that down onto the wire. So you don't have to go out and spend, buku dollars on an expensive tool, because you're only probably going to use it once. So, it's your choice. As long as the wire, when you crimp it on there, you're going to always do a pull test on there to make sure that it's on there tight. But but I've been doing it for years, so I know what to do.
Right. And I've got so many tools. I mean, I've got all the special crimpers. When I was doing this for, real serious business, we had the ratcheting ones that would go down and everything, but
Oh
that's
yes,
because I was doing massive
you're
connections for
using
rock shows. I could
thousands
not.
of them. Yeah,
Man, you go through those things like crazy, and I would build recording studios, and I would crimp hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things per day. It was just nuts. But yeah, if you're very very careful, and you're going to want to do a tug test, I should probably do that as part of my video, don't you think, Danny? And just basically show them a
yes,
couple of ways that you
yes.
can do that. I'll get a pack of these things. I'll crimp it with regular pliers. I'll crimp it with a special tool. I don't have my old ratcheting one anymore. I don't know how much those things cost, but they were like really, really expensive. But no need for that for something like this. Okay, does that answer your
No,
question about that?
no.
Okay, so let's see. Wire splice, blah, 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 blah. Hang on here. Somebody standing by in Georgia. Rainy night in Georgia. Okay, I'm at fun, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now, and this always comes up. Let's answer this now. Everybody said, is a soft start about the same as an easy start? What are the differences, practical differences between those two products?
Okay, the difference between the soft start and the easy start. There are two differences. Number one, the soft start currently has 5 wires. And with this one, when we hook it in, and I send you your schematic, but I beg you to help you. The schematic is very easy, 6 steps. You've seen the picture, you saw the schematic, but to make you more comfortable, call me. I'll gladly walk you through this. That way I'm assured that you've got it in there correctly. And then you don't get rid of me until you either get a green light or you're tired of talking to me. And so, but anyway, so once you get the green light, what you'll do is you'll turn your AC on first, turn your power and breakers on, turn your AC on to fan only. All that does is tell me you've got power up at that AC, because the soft start does not interfere with your reversing valve circuit, doesn't interfere with a fan circuit, because it is only working on the compressor. So you've got that to where you've got your fan on. You immediately, as soon as you hear it, you switch it over to auto cool, run your thermostat down to as low as it'll go, and then you climb back up and look at your soft start to see if you've got the green light. Now the circuit for that I showed you for the install of that wrist, your soft start's going to come on right away, and you'll get your green light on the LED run light. But now units that have the circuitry in there to run the reversing valve and all that, some of them have circuit boards in there, and the soft start will go into self-test mode, where you would have a 3 full minute delay before you get your green light. After 4 minutes, if you don't have a green, call me. Now, the easy start, that is a 4-wire system, which requires you to splice into wires, twist them together. So basically, it would be on ours, the first 3 steps, 4 steps would count. The difference is going to be on your compressor wire. There, they cut that wire and twist the wires together. And then once they start their unit, you have to start it, run it for a bit, shut it off. You do that 5 times for their unit to learn what it's got to do. And then after that, you would be okay. So that's basically the differences. But there is a way of even doing, we are working on a 4-wire system that will come out, but I can still do that with no cut. What you would do in the case of theirs, and what we will do in the case of ours, I am going to say when you look at ours, we've got 42 inches of wire, which you don't really use all of that. I guarantee everybody, you will. So I will include in the instructions on that to make a pigtail that you'll be able to, there you go.
Let's see.
Or
Okay,
you
hold it
got
from the
more
camera.
wire. Yep, you got plenty of wire there. Thanks, Mike.
I'm doing a
So
little visual for you on the side. Yeah, we got a lot of wire.
you got a lot of wires. What you would do is pick a color of your choice. You can take 4 inches of that, strip both ends, put a female on one, and which you would bend at the 45, like I just explained for the no cut, and you would put a piggyback on the other end, which is a female male all in one, and you would plug that onto your compressor wire, run it out, and then instead of cutting your compressor wire, you plug that end onto your male end of the piggyback, and on the brown soft start wire, put a male, plug that into that. You've got your assembly done with a 4-wire system, no cuts.
Excellent. Now, here's an interesting question here from Lynn. How can we fit the RV Soft Start or Soft Start RV into a smaller AC unit like the Coleman Series 10? We have a Winnebago view and there is no room. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm not sure on that one, but there's always room. I can sneak them into anything. Just like, well, a good example, the Brisk 2 unit, because of all the foam in there. What I've asked people to do with that one is to actually, between the electrical box and the outside wall, you lay that, you would glue that thing to the side of the electrical box. You can actually see your LED lights through the slits on the side. That's why I say, send me a picture standing over the top of your unit, and I will tell you where you can put it in.
Okay, great. So Mr. Tommy 101, I like that. Double out one. I had one installed last year and love it. I like all caps. It works exactly as advertised. I know that the first time I had one running on my bench, I didn't think the compressor had started up. And I had this thing laying all in parts all around me. And I'm going, what's wrong with this stupid thing? The compressor's not running. And then I looked at my amperage draw, and my amperage draw was up at like a 13 or 14 amps. And I went, wait a minute, the compressor must have just started. And then again, that's the thing that's most different. If you don't have it on there, the thing kind of starts with a big bang to kind of give you a hint. But yeah. Okay, so Trevor also asks, are these instructions available on your webpage? I've purchased RV Soft Start, but with the original drawings? Soft Start RV. Everyone's doing RV Soft Start, so Soft Start RV. Yeah, I think all that stuff's online, isn't it, Danny?
No, the instructions that are currently online, there's like 13 drawings. They were done with the original intent, and they were cutting wires. That is before I started. That's why if you send me a text message, send a message to my email address, which is danny.rahner@yahoo.com. I will send you the proper schematic for your AC. Dometic units, all you've got to do is tell me it's a Penguin. It's the low profile, high profile, and just send me a picture of it, and I'll tell you what unit you've got, and I can send you. Now Coleman is a different story. I've got 30 different drawings for Coleman units alone. what you do is remove your shroud off the AC, find your electrical box. Inside the lid of your electrical box, there will be a yellow schematic. One of the bottom corners, left or right corners, they will have a 1976, can be a dash, it can be a letter, and then 3 numbers. If you ask me for that, send me that information. I will send you the proper schematic. And as I said before, that schematic, I would love to walk you through it to make sure that you have no issues installing this.
So, Danny, did I take
My
a look
phone
down?
number.
Go ahead. Did I put your email down there correctly?
Yes, you sure did.
Okay. I'm not sure I can sneak your phone number in here at the same time. I may be able to. Want me to see if I can?
Let's try it. 915 area code.
Hold on. Let me see here.
235.
What was it?
915.
It's not gonna let me do it. It's one line. It's one line or nothing.
One
I don't think I
line,
can do it. I will add that in the final stream here. I can do that once we're done with this. We'll just put your contact phone number in there. Okay, sorry guys.
Okay, just so that everybody out there knows, that is the phone number that's going to be there. It's my personal phone number. That phone is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I do this 365 days a year, including Christmas Day, because people got them for Christmas and I got the phone call, so we do the installs.
Okay, so Dana asks and says, why not buy a simple pair of wire plier cutters at Lowe's that will do the crimp correctly? Won't cost much. I'm going to do that for you guys. I'm going to go get a very affordable set that that's got everything that you need, because you can use it for way more than just this. Any kind of your basic repair work that you might have to do in your wiring on your RV. A nice set of ones that are strippers actually work better, and they don't hog up. They don't actually cut through the copper wire. So that's always a thing. Here's this. Does this No-Splice Install work with all AC brands? I have an Air XL 4800. Does it work with that, with the No-Splice? Do you know?
Okay, yeah, okay, yes, yeah. If you look in there, and one of his, it could be the 1976 E 5136. That is one that, and here's another thing. I should have put a picture on of that. Just so that you know, and say for this one that I just said, if you open Coleman opens your electrical box, and all you've got in there is your run capacitor and start fan capacitor, your soft start unit, and I give everybody permission to do it. It won't void any extended warranty on your soft start. Is if you take a hacksaw and cut the top flange off, you can actually mount your soft start inside the electrical box. And you in that particular model, you find your black compressor wire, which black turns to purple. So instead of cutting that wire, instead of running all wires into the box, like I just said, you would take and leave your brown and red wire out, take them over to the top of the compressor, and then you would put the female on the brown, male on the red, take the compressor cap off, take your black wire off the top of the compressor, put the brown soft start wire on the terminal that black wire came off of, plug your red wire into your black or blue wire, Coleman or Dometic, no cuts. So virtually, yeah, any AC without cutting wires.
Cool. I'm just trying to pull something up on another iPad here. So let me see if I've got that. Give me half a second, because Herb has asked something that I actually know something about. And he says, how much longer does it take the compressor to come up to speed with soft start? Are there any mechanical issues in the refrigeration circuit as a result of installing soft start? And I actually did a whole bunch of stuff on that earlier. Let me see if I can get this up. Hang on one second. And here we go. And I'm proud of this little gadget here. Okay, so if you look at the top unit, and basically if you go look at any of my articles, I designed and I invented a like a piece of test gear that I call Hurdle for high rate data logger that allows me to sample the signal at 192,000 times a second at about 1 part per million accuracy. And that sounds like really hard stuff to do, but it's actually pretty simple because it's audio. It's like high resolution audio. And if you look at the top section here, the red, you'll see that normally that thing takes about 1/6 of a second, about 150 milliseconds to come up to speed. And that's faster than a blink of an eye with a regular capacitor. But it is drawing like 52 amps peak when it's doing that, and that's what causes generators to not like it. So the soft start circuit, and again, you can see it is about 1/3 of a second long. So it's about about 330 milliseconds long. Still the blink of an eye. But what it does is it reduces that peak current to about half, to about 24 amps of that. The other thing that's really interesting, if you can see on the top, I don't have a good way to put a pointer on it. See where it says 20 amp rebound and those little wiggles right there? Guess what Hurdle is showing you? I talked to one of my guys that's a fluid dynamics engineer, and he said you are watching the bubbles of the Freon collapse as they're compressed into fluid. And I went, oh, baby. He says, you can see a lot of stuff with this. So you can see this is real stuff. This is not some marketing graph. These are my numbers. It looks like it only takes about 1/3 of a second to start it up with SoftStartRV technology versus about 1/6 of a second. Every engineer that I've talked to says that the only thing that can do is help prolong the life of the motor because it doesn't hammer this thing constantly. So I haven't done it through 1 million starts yet to know if that's the truth or not, but it does seem to be that probably will add to the longevity of your compressor motor just because it doesn't give it a big hammer when it's starting.
Yep. Trust me, it will. I'm
pretty sure. I'm absolutely sure. Like I said, Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I spent 7 years at the Medic with these things, and yes, we've needed this for a long time.
Okay, so Dale asked this. Our Dale Mercer, I have 3 AC units on my roof. Can I install the soft start on just 1 unit?
You can install it on 1 unit, but if you install it on 2, you can run 2 of them at the same time on 30 amps.
Right. And so I think what some people say is, can I put one of them up there and have it control all 3 AC units? And I know the answer is no. You need one for each air conditioner that you want to run. So yeah, and I've seen people successfully run 2 air conditioners off of a single 30 amp service, and it works quite well.
Yes.
And especially for guys that are what do they call that, mooch docking, which I think is a great term, where you want to just park in your relative's driveway and just plug that into like a 20 amp circuit. Then you can quite successfully run a single air conditioner off of that, and plus a few other things at the same time. So it's actually pretty useful technology, really. Okay, so let's see. Ken says, is it best to get a professional electrician to do the install? What do you think? Best to get a professional? Can you do it yourself?
No. I tell people, if you can count from 1 to 6 and you know colors, you can do this. And it is not hard. It is getting the wires pulled into the box and because the thing only takes about 5 minutes to install. I've actually asked some of my customers, look, I'm going to send you this map. I can't climb up on there anymore. And I said, look, if at all possible, be there when they do it, because they're an RV place is going to charge you by the hour to do it, and they're going to milk that. I'm telling them, look, it should take no more than 10 minutes. That's giving them a lot to install an air conditioner. They should have both of them done in under. Like I said, I can do them, but I'm used to it. I actually had a gentleman call me. He was coming from Missouri, one of my customers, and he coming through town, and he says, Danny, if I stop, will you help me? I said, sure. So I told him where to pull off. I went into Lowe's. I picked up the package that we showed. I said, you know what? On the ground, because by the time you hit the top of the ladder, I'll have the install done. And it took me 8 minutes to install his unit. And so, but no, anybody can do it. The only thing I say, and I normally don't tell people until the install the one thing that you shouldn't do, because if I told you what you shouldn't do, then you're going to actually touch a freight. Use a pair of insulated needle nose pliers to remove the white wire off of the run capacitor. Because if you were to touch the white and the red terminals at the same time, I don't worry about it. I don't have any hair. So if I had one, it would stand up.
Well, you want to be careful, of course, anytime you're.
Right.
I tell everybody, anytime you're climbing up a ladder, make sure that it's stable. Make sure that you're not doing this in the rain. Make sure you're unplugged from everything. Yes. There's these basic safety precautions that you want to do. Let me just bring this up from Rick for a second. He says, finally got signed in. Hope the session is being recorded for viewing later from Central Ontario, Canada. And yes, it will be. It'll be up on YouTube momentarily as soon as we're done here. So it is in fact being recorded out there. Okay, so here is the $1 million question from Ken Detzner. Why aren't the manufacturers installing these? Why aren't they doing it, Danny?
Well, they just kind of like keeping things to themselves. But just to let everybody know, SoftStart in the process of working with Coleman, and there are going to be, they've selected, I guess, a couple models that they will come out actually with the SoftStart already installed.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yes,
and that was a part of this. Do you think that we'll start building this technology into their AC? There you go. Do you think the AC manufacturers will start building this technology into their AC units? And I guess that some of them looks like they will be, right?
Some of them will be, and it's good. It's really good to see, because there's so many benefits to this thing that they're crazy not to.
I guess always the biggest question that with any of these things is kind of like this sticker creep thing. You know, if something costs a RV manufacturer or any manufacturer, $1 more, $10 more, or $50 more, they really, really have to think hard about this. It's hard to get them to take the price up by even $1. It just is. But I think it is better technology, truly.
Oh, it is. But you gotta remember too, volume, the price of that actually goes down. Now, I mean, you'll see, and the reason why I tell people they've got to look at their schematic and give me that 1976 number on a Coleman unit, because one unit, it starts out 1976-613. Well, there's one that it's already up to 1976E613. Well, and you say, why is there E? Well, that's because every year that electrical engineer changes a position of a wire, and therefore that justifies his existence for the next year. But it's also a way of the manufacturer saying, oh, well, it's a different now, so I can raise the price a little bit.
Well, we see this all
And
the
they
time
both
where
do it.
you get different little features in your phones and everything else. I'm not sure it's that big of an advantage, and your cars do the
Oh,
same thing. Yeah. So Trevor asked
sure.
this.
They all do.
Everybody does it. Trevor says, I have a 15,000 BTU Dometic on my RV. To power it, I need at least a 3,000 watt generator. Once installed with the soft start, will a 2,200 watt generator run the AC?
Okay, this is a good question, guys. Okay, I got people that are running 13.5 air conditioners off a 2,000 watt Honda generator. 2,000 watts starting. That is 1,600 watts running. Starting, it's putting out 16.67 amps. Running is only putting out 13.3. Now, with this, because you've got to remember, on a Dometic unit, you've got a compressor. You also have a fan. Compressors putting out between 12 and 13 amps, depending on conditions. Is putting out 3. That's 15 amps. And you're saying, okay, that's 15 amps, but you just said that the Honda 2000 is putting out 13.3. With the soft start on there, I can run that, because with the soft start on there, you're probably pulling 10 amps to run it. I've actually had a gentleman that had a system on there, and he said it was actually at running, it was only amps.
Well, I'm
So yes, you
successful.
can do it, but now here's the thing. What you have to remember is you've got a choice to make. And I always tell my customers, look, it's better to have too much power and not use it than not enough power and you need it. So you've got to decide what's your preference already. What do you want? You want AC with the smaller generators, you start making choices. Do I want AC? Can I run how many lights can I run? Do I want to run a microwave? So you've got to make choices. You also have to remember, for every 1,000 feet you go above sea level, you're going to lose 3.5% efficiency in your generator. Temperature above 90 degrees. And again, on your little graph there, Mike, it would be interesting to see how those bubbles were at higher temperatures, because what happens is, you got to remember, you're pulling ambient air into there. That back is trying to cool those gases so that it can be compressed again. And the higher the temperature, the harder it is for that compressor to compress those gases. Your amps go up. So you've got to remember altitude and temperature. Also, if at all possible, when you're out, you can't do much about your RV sitting out there. Remember, your AC sitting out there in the sun, you're probably 120 degrees sitting out there on that roof. And so you've got that. But your generator sitting out there in the sun too. If you can, find a place to put it in the shade. Trust me, it will make a difference.
Okay, so Channel Jammer says, how much does the soft start kit cost? I've got an old 1987 RV that I run on generators at times. So what's the basic cost of this thing?
Well, they've just right now they've got there's a sale on them, so I don't know what the price is on there right now, but it's right around the $100 range.
So how much was it? Around three?
About
You dropped out.
about $300.
About $300,
Depending
right?
on yeah.
Okay, and then Tom says, I bought a used Crossroads Cruiser last summer. The AC starts so quietly, I couldn't tell it was running. Might it have a soft start RV in it? And I guess you got to pull the lid and look, but yeah, it could very well be, right? Maybe it's already got one in it.
Could, it's possible. Um, I the last one meeting we had, I had a guy standing over the top of his, asked his wife to turn it on. He had a Dometic Brist unit, and the dude scared me to death because he told his wife turn it on, and he said, and I said, "Are you sure? Do you have a green light on your soft start?" And he looked down. He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Your AC's running." And he says, "No, it's not. It didn't come on." I said, "The green light tells you that compressor is kicked in." I said, "Reach down, touch the small tube on top of your compressor. It's going to be hot. Touch the large tube, it'll be cold." And the next thing I know, I'm hearing thump, 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 thump. And I thought, oh God, because I've had a couple people that didn't round up their wires and it sucked it into a fan's
Oh,
blade
no.
breaks
Oh,
off.
God.
That unit is out of balance and it feels like it's going to jump off the roof. Well, I thought it was the AC jumping off the roof. No, it was the guy jumping up and down. And he said, the fan louder than the compressor. And
Wow.
I went, dude, you scared me. Makes a tremendous difference.
So here's an interesting one. So this shameless plug for me, man. It says I bought your book, my RV electrical safety book, to help me at work, electrical department at Home Depot. I get a lot of engineers and electricians that get my book just because it goes through a lot of really simple theory that will help you eventually even in your job. And I think I've told you guys before, I started playing with electricity on myself when I was about 4 years old. So and then I really got interested when I was like 8. I tried to build a perpetual motion machine in the basement out of a motor and a generator, and it didn't work. It took out a bunch of fuses. So I appreciate that. I really, really work hard to make electricity accessible to everybody. So now look at this. Oh, here's a good one. I've not seen this one. Would there be power conflicts if soft start is installed in one roof AC unit and a different easy start is named soft start is already installed in my second rear unit AC unit? So can you intermix these? Can you? I mean, if they've already got the other competitor's unit in one, can you just put the soft start RV in the other one? Is there any harm in that you could think of?
Not at all. Not at all.
They're
It's
completely
doing the same
separate
thing. It's
things, right?
doing
Yeah.
basically the same. That's it. They're not connected to nothing. Um, just like it's just like people say, oh, you're gonna hurt things. You turn them both on. You turn both ACs on at the same time. Well, think about it. They can't both come on at exactly the same time. The odds of that are pretty small because it's going to take you a minute to turn them on, so they'll be coming on separate. So the answer to that is no. There would be absolutely no issue doing that.
Right. I
Um,
can't. There's no interaction between them. The only common thing is the power line
no,
coming in, right? I mean, just is. Um,
that's it.
so Dana says you can get it for $3.29 on Amazon. I know that there's if you go over to rvtravel.com and look around on there, there'll be sections on there, and there's some discounts available here and there. It
Yeah,
depends on when you're doing it. Um, That's let's see. I don't why do you use Crossroads. We're actually doing pretty good here. Are there any more questions here? If you toss them at me here, Randy asked this a couple of times, but I hope we answered your question about the alternate competitors unit on this a second one. Yeah, you need one on each air conditioner. You can have you don't have to have one on every air conditioner, but it won't help the other non upgraded air conditioners at all. Um, and let's see, any other crazy stuff here I can think of. Not off the top of my head. Okay, let's keep rolling here. Okay, Danny, any other interesting things while we wait to see if any more questions come in?
Well, let's see.
Don
Um,
says, will you publish the No-Splice instructions? Will you publish this online or do
I
you?
can. We can put okay. Here we've had the original there were kits put out there with the instructions that you see online, which use splice connectors, and they had a couple connecting things in there. So they haven't taken those down yet, because I think I've got like 800 more kits out there, which they should be going pretty quick. The new install kits will have the connectors in there, but it's safer to go out, like I showed the picture, for $3. You can't go wrong. It never hurts to have extras. But like I said, I've gone in, I've redrawn all of their drawings. I've got close to 45 drawings, because I do them not only on RV ACs, I also install these on marine AC units. Um, Basically the same the same fittings and all that. So it's, it's easy to install. It's simple to do.
Okay, so Don Jesse asked
These
another one.
and so anyway, go ahead.
Okay, so Don also asks, is the no-splice method better than the splice method? Is one preferred over the other, or is it just ease of install?
Okay, it's just basically, if you don't have warranty and you don't care about cutting a wire, you can cut that one wire. Only the one. That's the only one that needs to be cut, is the compressor. Okay, on a compressor cap, you'll see that it says R, S, and C. R and S both go to your run capacitor. R is your white wire. S is your red wire, which is the start wire. So, and then the C is your compressor wire. If I'm cutting it, all it's going to do is it's going to cause you to use 2 extra fittings that you wouldn't have to have. Putting it on underneath the compressor cap, some of the, I mean, it's a simple thing to do. You just got to make sure there is a fitting out there, but they're hard to find. And that's why I don't tell anybody to try to get it. I'm trying to get this included into the kit to make this easier. It's what's called a flag connector. It's a female,
Yeah, I know.
and instead of the
Sideways.
females like this, the male, the wire go the wire goes sideways on it. That will be optimal, and I'm gonna try to get them to put those in the new kits, because it would make this easier. But for now, it's just as easy to take a female, put a male in it, bend it. You can use your fingers, bend it over at a 45. You can bend it at a 90, and put on there. So yes, it's easy. It just some of them, if you don't mind cutting it, like the one I told you about, the Coleman, that's got the 136. I can actually mount that soft start in their electrical box with all the wires in there. Nothing shows outside. It's out of the elements completely.
So Jeff
It's
asked,
basically your preference. But if you're under warranty, I will not let you cut a wire. I refuse to have you cut a wire. That's why I made this other putting it on top.
yeah.
Do not cut a wire if you've got a warranty.
Okay, so Jeff asks, he says he wants to know, and it was part of another question, will the soft start, he wants to know if it will save on his electricity bill when the thing's running. What do you think?
I don't know about that. It's just
Nothing
going to
tells me that it
save
will,
wear and
because
tear on
remember,
your compressor.
I've torn all these apart. Once they're up and running, they're up and running. It's just that fraction of a
Yeah,
second, that if you look. So here's the thing: if we pull out the calculus and we look at the total energy during startup of a 52 amp peak for a sixth of a second versus a 24 amp peak for 1/3 of a second, it's the same amount of energy that's to spin that thing up, as
yeah.
far as I can tell. So I'm pretty sure it won't help
Okay.
save electricity. I don't think.
Here's what you need to look at. On your rating plate, on your air conditioner, it's got one spot on there that says LRA, and that's your locked rotor amperage. And that one is always going to be high. That one can be anywhere between 35 to 70 amps. That is what that curve is right there. It spikes at
Right.
between 35 and 70 amps.
Okay, so now, oh, get this. So this is a pretty simple one. So Tom Hurst, tell us about the gauge of the extension cords needed to run the AC units. Is heavy. I get people that go buy those cheapy little orange extension cords at Home Depot and Lowe's. Man, that's just bad stuff. I run 12 gauge cords minimum, even for 15 amp outlets. That's just me.
Yes. Yes.
You will never be sorry having too heavy of an extension cord. I remember when I was little, when I was a tiny tot, 5 or 6 years old, I would think that the electricity would get lost in all of that thick copper. And I soon discovered that the thicker the wire was, the more electricity it could carry easily. So yeah, you'll never be sad if you can't have too heavy of an extension cord, except they're heavy to move around. I like good 12 gauge cords, even though they say they're 15 amp ins. In actuality, they have the same current carrying capacity as the 20 amp NEMA Edison connector. So yeah, I would say get a good 12 gauge. I run 25 foot and 50 foot 12 gauge extension cords all over the place. But that, again, I'm trying to be really, really safe. Here's another one here. Randy says, okay, my rear AC unit went out, compressor bag. Can I order a No-Splice kit by itself to reinstall SoftStart in my new unit? So your AC
Repeat
unit
that
went
one
out.
again.
So he says, okay. He says, my rear AC unit went out, the compressor died. So he's going to put a new AC unit in there, and he wants to get a No-Splice kit. To reinstall he wants to reinstall the SoftStart. So his one that failed had a SoftStart, and he wants to. Yeah, now I get it. So is it anything different? It's just the it's just the connectors, right?
Basically, that's it. Go to Lowe's, $3, pick up a package of 16. And depending on how, do you want to do a no cut? Do you want to do the no cut? Otherwise, so your black, your yellow, and your blue are going to go on inside there. So your blue is going to have a male on there. Your black and your yellow are going to have female, because your blue is always going to plug into your white. And then your black is going to go where the white was. Your yellow is going to go over on the red next to where the red wire is. Then if you want to do the no cut, you're going to need a female on the brown. You're going to need a male on the red. Take the cap off and do it there. So for $3, you can reconnect that SoftStart on any AC. And if you've got questions, there's my email address. Send it
put
to
your phone
me.
number here.
I'll guide you through it. Gladly.
So here's a good one. Dick says again, join the late missed first half of presentation. When I'm as an adjunct professor, if somebody comes late to my class, guess what happens? They get locked out of the room. But not here. because guess what you could do? You can just go back and watch this so many times over and over and over again. And like I said, I'll try to do a video next week that has some of the bits and pieces of it. So yes, it's always recorded. John Jesse says, thanks for mentioning the flag connectors. Just ordered and we'll have some on Friday. So I like this. People are watching this and they're going on their phone, punching in on Amazon and looking up the stuff. They're really, really handy because they don't actually point out, they point sideways. So it just gives you better clearance.
They go sideways. It's actually what's on the compressor wire now. I'm cheating because the female right now is because it's so straight, there's not that much room under that cap. That's why you have to bend it at a 45 or slightly more than that. Just push your cap down on it and it'll go down. But that way the main thing is I hate cutting wires.
Okay, so Tom says
and the reason.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Go,
okay,
go.
Go. Okay, so Tom says, that said, he was talking about extension cords. A 30 amp, 30-foot RV cord is to an extension cord with an adapter. Well, yeah, you can if you want to run a bunch of stuff. If all you're trying to do is run the air conditioner, 12 gauge is best, but how long can the extension cord be? Well, personal experience, I run 50s all the time. I've tried to run these on a 100-foot 12 gauge cord, and it gets a little loosey-goosey out of 100 foot of this.
Yes.
I would say 50 is probably all you want to go. Am I thinking about right, Danny? Does that work out what you've seen too?
Yes, exactly.
I know you guys don't like heavy copper wire, but good golly, you're asking. There's a lot of stuff going on. I will tell you, when I do rock shows, I have thousands of pounds of copper with me. Thousands. I literally bring miles of wire. I don't mean hundreds of feet. I don't mean thousands of feet. I mean miles of stuff. I hate copper, but copper is your friend. It is. One of the things I've threatened to also do here, which I could do, is show you the proper way to do an over-under wrap on your shore power cables that keeps them nicer and makes them easier to unwrap without kinks. I'll have to do a video on that. I got a lot of stuff to do. So Randy says, I'll look forward to an online video instruction from SoftStart on the no-cut install. Well, I'm going to do that one for you on my own unit here. And so, and I'll kind of detail all the bits and pieces of it as I'm doing it. And of course, that'll be on my, my Penguin 2 unit. But the idea is pretty straightforward on most all of these, and Danny is there to help you as well.
Now, there's one other thing, and I'm gonna stress this again. When you go to install the SoftStart, the most important thing you can do is you've got on your run capacitor, you've got 3, sometimes 4 wires, white. The most important thing you can do is find that white compressor wire, because you can hook it into your fan wire and you're going to turn the unit on, and yeah, your fan's going to run, but your compressor's not going to kick in because you didn't hook it in.
Right.
So always make sure you follow it, tug that little thing. Yes, there's a strain relief there, but you can also follow it from one side to the other and say, oh yeah, this is the same one. It's also a heavier gauge wire than the other wires. It's a 12 gauge wire. The others are 16.
This is all making sense. Let's see. I'm not seeing any more questions here. We're coming up on the hour. Oh, very good. Look at that. Do you have any last minute words of wisdoms for these guys before we sign off, Danny?
Never be afraid to try this yourselves. Save yourself some money. Save a couple $100.
Yeah.
If you've got, they don't have to be an electrician. You would be amazed how many calls I get from RV techs. Don't be afraid to do it. You can, with the instructions, it's 6 simple steps. Count from 1 to 6. If you put that schematic back up, Mike, you'll see that they're numbered.
Hang on here. I had crashed my system here. Let me see if it comes back up. I have too many things. You guys have seen all the stuff that I've got around me. It kind of looks like a. Let me see if this wants to come up. Maybe it won't. No, it looks like a missile launch site here.
They're
it'll come up here. It's coming up in a second here. Here we go.
You'll see at the top of all my drawings. You'll see at the top of all of my drawings. You'll see a little soft start box. Inside that box, you'll see numbers. You'll now go up to the schematic.
Right there.
Anyway, in the schematic at the top there, you see the soft start box. In that box, the center one is always number 1, and then you've got number 2 and 3. They're in bubbles. Above that, you'll also notice that it tells you what fitting to crimp on that wire, male or female. And then if you go down into your steps, you'll see just before it gets to the unit, go down a little bit, Mike, where it shows keep going. Now go over
further I can go
the other way, the other side. Okay, you can see them right there. You can see them right there, but they show numbers there. There you go.
Right.
In number 5 and 6. It's close to where you're going to do it. So if you can follow numbers and you see the colors, and it's in the instructions, it's a very, very simple process. I had a guy today, had his neighbor come over because he couldn't climb. The guy didn't do it. So the guy's down there. He's also got me on the phone, and he's telling the guy what to do. I say, don't be afraid. Look, it's at your convenience, not mine. I'm always sitting in a nice, comfortable chair. You're the one up on the roof. But it's at your convenience when you want to do it. You know what? If you want to call me at 5 in the morning, hey, we're going to do it at 5 in the morning.
Cool.
Just call me. I'm here to help.
Okay. Well, guys, we're getting ready to sign off here. What I'm going to do, as soon as we're done with this, I'll make sure Danny's phone number is posted right in the YouTube video itself. It'll take a little while before it actually goes and logs it in, so I'll go make that change. So it might be an hour before that's done, but it'll certainly be there in the morning. So don't worry about it. Okay. So Steve Cloninger says, great info. And Trevor says, thanks again. Looking forward to installing once the snow has melted. Yes.
Here we go. Hold on. I got one more quickie. Quickie to put up. Look, I had a guy that talked to me back in September, just called me on Saturday. He was in Alaska. He's finally putting in his soft start. He says, Danny, how do I do this? He says, it's 41 degrees out. I said, what are you shooting for now? He says, when I turned it on, I saw a quick flash of green light, but it went right out. I said, well, yeah, your thermostat only goes down to 55. It's 41 out. You just told me. If you need to cheat, take a hairdryer, run it across the thermostat.
That's what I ended up doing. I started doing some of these experiments in the winter, and it was like 18 or 20 degrees out. And I put a hairdryer on it just to start to warm it up, just so I could see if this stuff was working. And I went, oh, brother, this is pretty crazy. But yeah, it works. It does. Okay, so Bill says, thank you both. Dick Stowe says, installing 2. It's a 2 for Saturday. So this is great stuff. If you guys got nice pictures of installs you want to send me, you can go over to any of my sites, or over on RV Travel and just post stuff there. Send it to me on my Facebook page. Okay, all good? Anything else, Danny? We all good? I think Danny just locked up.
We're all good.
All good. Okay, everybody.
Nope.
Thank you. thank you so much for spending an hour with Danny and me. Thank you, Danny, for your time and helping everybody, and for your interest. And by tomorrow morning, probably in the next hour, I'll make sure he's got his phone number up, but it'll be there in the morning. But there's his email address. He's here to help. Everybody says we liked it. So informative. Thank you. Thank you all very much for coming. As they say, we can't do this without you. So please let us know. Okay, Danny, thanks so much. We're signing off. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one.